just gonna put my foot on the floor and I'm not lifting till I see God or a checkered flag.
Hello and welcome back to Racing Thoughts and IndyCar Podcast. I'm Megan Dennis.
And I'm Meg Taylor. And we have two guests with us that we are so super excited about. If you guys want to introduce yourselves.
Milena, you can go.
Okay, I'll go first. Hello, I'm Milena. So we're here. We're from Lap It Like It's Hot. Two girls from Chicago that love to yap about IndyCar and pretty much like all things racing, I feel like. They just kind of creep into our lives. So, yeah.
Yeah, and I'm Monica, and I can't shut up about motorsports. So, this is why we're here. So we're very excited to be here, though. Thank you for having us.
Excellent. Thank you guys for coming on. We are so excited to have you. And basically, we are just going to kind of start off by asking you a few questions. So first off, how did you guys kind of get into IndyCar to begin with?
Okay, so I was like Formula One all the way. Like my dad is from Italy. He actually grew up like near Maranello and things like that. So he took me to like the Ferrari factory when I was a kid. So I grew up watching F1, and Monica moved in next door, and it was really funny. We were picking up someone's Wi-Fi, and the Wi-Fi name was the Paddock. And I was like, who are these people that moved in next door to us? And we need to learn more about them. So, and then Monica actually pulled me into the IndyCar world from there. So
that's awesome.
We were thinking, we were like, what should we name our Wi-Fi? And I'm like, well, we can be boring. But I was like, how about the Paddock? And my husband was like, yes, perfect. Our password was very F1 coded as well. So it was perfectly the racing house. But from my side, I've always watched F1 in sub capacity, at least like in high school. So like this was when like Lewis Hamilton was just coming onto the scene. And I actually worked in a sports bar all through high school into college. And they always had racing on. So like they always had NASCAR races, they had F1 races. And then I always ended up working the day of the Indy 500. So I always had it on in the background and I was like, oh, this is cool. Like, this is fun, but nothing like Die Hard-esque. And then during the pandemic, we just ended up being stuck at home. So we're like, hey, let's just watch old races and like get into it. And then after that, it just spiraled out of, oh, what's Drive to Survive? Let's watch that. Oh, let's watch, all the races from 2018 and 2019. And we went to the 2022 Indy 500 and having 33 cars come at you going 200 miles an hour is the most American thing you'll ever feel in your life. And after that, I was like, I want to know everything about these drivers. I want to know more about the sport. And then I met Milena, and then we were like, we should do this. We should do a podcast. We should start talking about IndyCar. And we've been doing it now for almost a year, which is crazy.
Almost a year. I know.
It's incredible. I'm honestly a little shocked that like the sports bars had like racing on, because I go to, sports bars every so often, never see racing on. So like, that's really cool.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. My kitchen manager was like a diehard NASCAR fan. So that was like, he needed to have that on. But then, once you can't scratch the itch with just NASCAR. So he had it all on.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, you mentioned almost a year in your podcast. Wonderful. Congratulations. Like, that's huge. And we were, of course, lucky enough to be on last week. So, for those who are listening now, if you haven't checked that out, please go do so.
Oh, yeah. It's awesome.
With that, if you had to describe your podcast in 10 words for someone who wasn't familiar with it, what 10 words would you use?
Ooh, that's a good one. I don't know if I can condense it into 10 words. I just feel like... You know what I mean? Like, it's got to be like a paragraph long of like what we talk about. We love to gossip. I am like, grab the popcorn, give me the drama kind of person.
Yes,
and like,
absolutely.
I love giving my hot takes. I love giving my like horrible comments. And I'm like, you know what? I'm going to throw it out there and you guys tell me what you think. I mean, the things that I've said about poor Devlin, like, I just, sorry, bro.
It's no poor Devlin on this podcast.
It doesn't matter.
No. For us, poor Santino.
Exactly.
He's also on our list, the poor Santino. Yes, 100%. So, yeah.
I would also say, like, we're just spicy and we're for the girls. I think that's basically what it is. We love just having unhinged moments. I'm also part of the Marcus Erickson, why do you have a job train? So, like, I'm very vocal about that.
Thank you. Me too.
But the drama, the gossip, and also just we love just good hard racing, and unfortunately, like these boys and girls take up a lot of my time. Like
Yep. Yeah.
it's now I feel like they're part of my family and they have no idea who I am. So it's a
Right.
little like, come on, I want to know more.
You should see our text thread throughout the day. Like, I mean, so our husbands are also on the text thread as well. And it's just hilarious, like the things that we find back and forth. Like, what did you text today was Schwartzy's song that came out.
Yeah. Yep.
I got his song.
Yes,
His song, I was
his
like,
disc- we're both
okay.
like, yes, and like he's a legit rapper, which like I know
Yeah.
we knew that, but like I never heard a song like from him before,
Mhm.
which
No.
was love it. I absolutely like on give me more drama. I want to hear it all.
When the
No.
Prema seat doesn't work out, just rap. I guess that he's
Yeah.
planning for his future. I
For
get
sure.
it. Okay.
How to be
F2, like-
multifaceted in this world.
So, well, the F2 pipeline to being DJ is kind of full. So he's like next avenue rapper.
Rapper, yeah, right.
If you can't race, DJ. I feel like those are the only two options available. Like, come on.
Yeah. It really does seem like that. It is way too saturated. Like there's other hobbies, guys.
Yeah. Fly planes, golf, do what other drivers do.
Right,
Like,
can't-
keep the DJs alone, okay?
Right, I know. It's everyone's dream, so they got to try. I guess I don't know.
I guess. Whatever.
Yeah, all good.
So, you mentioned loving the gossip, the drama. I mean, very much that's what we do here. I think that's why it's like the four of us kind of get along well in that regard.
Yeah.
Of kind of similar approaches. I guess kind of with that, shifting, looking back on the 2025 season, we've kind of touched on that in a good bit, but we'd love to hear kind of your perspective. With that idea in mind of like, what do you think went really well in whatever capacity you want to take that as a question? And also, what do you think is something that's an area of improvement you'd like to see going into next year?
I think like switching to Fox was like a blessing and a curse, I think. Obviously getting like that avenue into that mainstream, getting, more attention into IndyCar. The commercials during Super Bowl, I think were great. But at the same time, I feel like Fox didn't hit the mark on a lot of things, just some of the graphics, just some of the layouts. They missed, there was a few times where one of like the golf things like ran over. So then IndyCar got pushed. And then like, I'm just sitting there waiting on YouTube trying to figure out like what the hell is happening here.
And like golf of all things too. Like
And live golf
for
at
racing
that?
fans,
Yes.
this is
Why?
not exciting.
Right, exactly. I'm like, people still watch golf. I thought, so it's hopefully next year they'll learn from their mistakes and they'll improve and things like that.
Yeah, and I think for me, I think the Fox was also one of them. But outside of Alex Palou dominating, I think the racing was actually really entertaining. And it still gave us something to look forward to. Granted, he ended up winning all of it, basically. But like the middle section was fine, like before the checker flag. But Will Buxton, I think, was a sunshine for
Yes.
IndyCar this season.
Absolutely.
They were smart bringing him back. They were. And having him lead and balance out T-Bell and Hinch and all of that fun stuff, I definitely think that he was awesome. From an improvement side, accessibility for international fans. I think that's probably the biggest thing. And hopefully with the new streaming service that will be live for the next season, it'll give folks the opportunity to, fingers crossed, get to watch it internationally. Especially, could you imagine you're watching a stream and you don't get commercials? So literally the racing just goes and it's just like silent black screen for like, minutes on end
Yeah.
without anything. I think they need to do something. I don't know if it's getting an international broadcast for like key markets like Mexico and Germany and everything, and having like one or two people talk throughout in native language just to give folks that opportunity. So I feel like drawing more international fans, especially when we're the first race before F1, I think they have more room for improvement there. And also, outside of Attenuator Gate, which I won't get into because I've talked about it so much, but I really hope that there will be consistency moving forward from race control, tech specs, all of that fun stuff, because we definitely saw some cracks in the facade of IndyCar a little bit, and we're very skeptical when Penske owns the series and has a team and all of that fun stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Could talk for hours about how I think that is such a conflict of interest. And
sure.
I think I've been saying this for ages, like since I got into this. And so the fact that now, with everything that happened with the Indy 500 controversy and everything, now people are starting to talk about it a little bit more. And now Foxnet is starting to own part of, all of that. So now it's just, who knows? But absolutely agree that that is definitely something that can be improved upon.
Mhm.
Yeah. I always have said Penske was fined for attenuator gate, so he just transferred money from one account to another. Like, that's
Yep.
basically what it was. And
Yep.
the teams, like a lot of the teams are not happy about it. And we're even unhappy about Red Bull and Racing Bulls and F1 and how there's a conflict of interest there. And that's not
Mhm.
even like owning the series. So
Mm-hmm.
I hope that while I am okay with pushing the limit into the gray of being, whatever it might have been, push to pass gate, attenuator gate, whatever else that people got away with,
Mm-hmm.
just give us consistency in this is wrong, this is bad, this is good, and just let's move on.
Well, it seems like this season they also enforced more rules. There
Mm.
was it didn't, in seasons before they were able to get away with more. And did they change the rules or are they actually just enforcing them now? Right?
Yeah.
Like so
I have read the rule book more often this past year than I think I ever have. And I love, like, if you go back and listen to episodes, like, I will go back and I will quote the rule book, like, down to the, whatever it is. And, I think that's really important. It's like the rule book is crazy extensive and crazy long.
Right.
And so, I do appreciate when people are like, oh, it's this rule that's on this part and this and this. And I was like, okay. So it's easy to go find. But no, they definitely need to be more consistent with it because it
Mhm.
does make the fan experience a little bit more challenging when you're like, well, what the heck is even going on?
Right.
And you're like,
You
well, that
know?
happened, a few races ago. Why is it a problem
Yeah.
now and it wasn't
Yep.
before?
Why is it
You
a
know.
5-second penalty versus a drive-through versus this
Right.
versus whatever? And you're like, wait
Yeah.
a minute, that happened last week and this was a different scenario.
For me, it's also like the issue of like, why is this driver being penalized but this one isn't?
Right.
Yep.
That's what kills me, and I know that that is also what kills a lot of other people is that bias that feels like it's there.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Well, like Christian and Connor versus what happened with Santino and Connor and how those penalties dealt out, I think is a good one. I mean, we spent a long time kind of hashing all of that out, but I think it goes to a matter of, I think it'll be interesting with Doug now having a full year under the helm with him being a lawyer by trade, that I feel like we're going to see, hopefully, maybe with some asterisks around it of like stricter rules in place. But I don't want it to be stricter rules in the sense of that, like, the racing doesn't become fun. So I do think it becomes kind of a very fine line. I guess maybe consistent rulemaking is maybe a better way of what I'm looking for and hoping that we're getting.
Yeah. The third party technical thing is a start, right? I'm also really shocked that there's not a drivers association. Like, I'm surprised that the drivers don't have like representation from their perspective.
I've heard that it's because Indiana doesn't let them unionize. Like, Indiana's not a union state, so that's why they are not allowed to have a union. But I don't know. I haven't looked in that to know the truth behind it.
Red state
But-
problems.
Please. But I do think that's also like, I know they can't, but they need something where they can make those decisions, because there have been times from a safety perspective where the drivers were like, oh no, it was unsafe for this, or this is this. And they don't have that force that like F1 drivers have, where they go into the driver meeting and, George Russell's up there fighting for the cause, right? Like, we need our George
Come in with
Russell.
PowerPoints.
Yeah, come on. Like,
Would
look at my
never-
chart.
In my life, I would never think that you would say we need a George Russell in IndyCar. Oh my God. Do you
It didn't
realize what
say
you
that
just
we
said?
need George Russell. He can stay in F1, okay? He doesn't need to come over, but we need we need a dad. We need like Scott Dixon to be
Yes.
like, y'all, this is not going to work. Or
Yeah.
Rossi. Okay, I can, but no George Russell.
You know
He
what? I
has
can
no
see
place in
Rossi
IndyCar.
being like, he would be leading the charge with something like that.
Yeah,
I would
100%.
yeah, for sure.
I think he would be a good person to kind of bring into it because, I mean, he
Yes.
has had that F1 world. He has been a part of that.
Mm-hmm.
And, he's got the personality for it.
For sure.
Yeah.
Just
Yeah.
don't
Holds
call
no-
him George Russell. He'll take
Just-
very
oh,
much
God, no.
offense to that.
Yeah. No,
I would never insult Rossi by
think-
calling him
yeah,
George
yeah,
Russell.
never-
okay,
not-
Sexy Squidward and Rossi are two different people. Okay,
my God.
please.
Sexy Squidward.
Lately,
lately I've been also seeing like Woody in a Mercedes, you know what I
God.
mean? Like and
Yeah.
now I'm just like, oh my God, I could totally see that too. So he looks like Woody from Toy Story as
Oh,
well.
he
George Russell
100%
has
does.
enough Halloween costumes to be for the rest of his life, so he'll
Yeah.
be fine.
Absolutely. So, kind of moving into something that we've already touched on a little bit with being within like the IndyCar fandom space. Megan and I have talked about this like a multitude of times, but like first off, how do you define like fandom just in general, and what does that mean like personally to you guys with what you've experienced, like maybe not necessarily within motorsport but like elsewhere as well?
I feel like fandom is very subjective. I think the first thing that comes to mind is just support, right? Being a supportive individual for another individual. You can be a fan of somebody who is not an athlete, right? You can be a fan of somebody in your loved ones or whatever. I think for me, I grew up in the music world. Like my husband and I love music, and seeing like fandoms around bands and artists and things of that nature, right? Like I always think about the Grateful Dead and these folks literally living in school buses, following them around to go to shows, right? So you have like that type of, fandom. And then you have folks that support by buying merch, by going to the show, by streaming their music. But it also can be really scary if you're in a toxic fandom or
Absolutely.
a fandom that may not necessarily be accessible to all. And we've seen that. We've seen fandoms be like, whoa, you're not welcome here because you have these thoughts. And sometimes it can get a little scary and a little icky, especially if you're like, I'm just here to have a good time, y'all. Like, I'm sorry, I don't know the B-side of the 5th album that was released by just like the studio like 12 years ago. Like, that doesn't mean I'm not a fan. So there's levels of it, and there's a good side and a bad side. And you have to be really careful when you have a fandom to not gatekeep, but also at the same time, not be and be like, you're not welcome here, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah. I mean, when I think of like fandom, I mean, I love just the play on like the little mistakes that happen, or like, like what's her name? Regina, when she falls. And then we went to Road
We love
America,
Georgina.
right? And then we went to Road America, and sure enough, someone strapped Georgina onto their
Yeah.
golf cart. Things like that like I just love that to have fun with it and play with it a little bit. I mean, I don't know everything about IndyCar. I don't know everything about F1 and stuff like that, but I just want to have a good time. Being a girl, especially in motorsports, back in the day, probably even before high school, like my parents, they would get me all like the Ferrari gear and stuff like that. Before I met my husband, he like saw me wearing a Ferrari jacket, and he's like, who this chick thinks she is that she's wearing a Ferrari jacket? Little did he know, like the first time I went to an F1 race, I was 12 years old, and my dad took me. So like, yeah, I do know that world, and I do know. So like, you do risk that kind of like you don't belong here, but that's why I like this world, that we
Yeah.
are supportive of each other, and we, no matter who knows what, we just like to watch it, and we just like to watch it together.
Yeah. It's the community itself, right? IndyCar gives you such amazing access as a fan, but we also have to check ourselves because that access can be removed very, very quickly, right? Like we've been to races where, like at Road America, the paddock is open to all the fans. Basically, the pit lane is the only place where you need credentials to get on, like basically
That's how
around the
Laguna
fence.
Seca is too.
Yeah. And I've seen people like
Abuse it
push over
really bad.
children to get their photo taken or approach a driver. We were in Milwaukee, and Robert Schwartzman was waiting in line to go to the freaking
Yes,
bathroom,
that poor-
and someone's like, sign my die cast. I'm like, read the room,
right,
people.
exactly.
And even like with Pato, he's just mobbed all the time where he needs like security. So we also have to realize like we got to take a step back and say, yes, like we have this accessible access with IndyCar for the price that we're paying compared to F1, where to get that access, you'd basically have to sell a kidney on the black market. Like we got to be careful with how we treat the drivers. How do we treat the team owners? How do we treat the engineers? Because we have this lovely community and we have this awesome place, but we also don't want to jeopardize this place by not making it safe, by pushing kids away is like a no-no, right? Like we got to make sure that the fandom doesn't get too pushed forward, and also let them go to the bathroom. Like they'll be back.
That's
Please.
the weirdest thing.
Well, and not only that,
Like,
why don't they have their own bathrooms? Once again,
Well,
That is also
Drivers
true.
Association. Okay, hello. Get them the
Advocate for
privacy
your
that
own
they
bathroom.
Please, like, come on. Like,
He
you
literally
could have
was
your
waiting
own
in line for a
bathrooms.
porta potty, guys. It
Right.
wasn't even
Yeah.
like a line to the bathroom. So like
Oh my
Yeah.
God.
it was wild to see. But yes, I remember seeing people like that. And like I'm the kind of person, I'm not shy to like run up to a driver and ask for a picture. But if I see children in front of me, I'm gonna wait. I can wait. I'm an adult woman. Relax,
Yeah.
people. Like
I can be Nolan Siegel's mom. Like, I can wait.
mhm.
I know, it's
Okay.
getting to that point where you're
Yep.
just like, oh my God.
Yeah.
Like, I can
Well,
wait for a photo.
Like,
Yes.
it's okay.
Yeah.
It's
Mhm.
well, I
not
mean,
that
that's something
serious
like
for us.
we saw in Laguna with
Mhm.
like Pato literally being chased by people
Yep.
through the paddock, where it's
Yep.
just like, that's not okay. Like,
No.
Yeah.
we're lucky to have this access, Monica, to your point that you're saying. And it's like, at some point, and I've described it kind of as like the boy bandification that we're seeing in IndyCar of if we're not careful, and I mean careful in the sense of like as a larger scale fandom being respectful, they're going to stop giving us that time, whether that means drivers are going to get a lot more standoffish, or from the sense of are we going to see paddocks either get a lot more expensive to access or just a lot more no access. And
Mhm.
that's something I think we all love about IndyCar, and the thought of getting that taken away, because kind of those basic like human dignity things kind of get left on the floor of like, these drivers are people. They're people trying to do their job. And I think sometimes that gets forgotten.
Mhm.
Yeah. And I do think that IndyCar could do better for creating less chaos by giving more time for the like autograph sessions, right?
Yeah.
Like,
Oh yeah.
we were at Gateway one year and we waited in line like probably an hour in the scalding hot heat to
I feel like it
go
was
and do
longer.
this.
Maybe because we were like in a mirage, like desert.
It was
'cause
like
it was so
100
hot.
degrees, like
But it felt
concrete jungle.
yeah,
Oh
it
my
felt like a lot
gosh.
longer.
We get to like the area, like the that you can go, and of course like you go through the line, whatever. We're literally 4 drivers in and the hour is over, and like we're in front of like Alex Palou and Scotty Mack, and like Marcus Armstrong literally just like Houdini'd out of there, and I was like,
Mhm.
they're just leaving, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so while I understand if you come in, you're like, I want to take a photo with Pato or with David Malukas or with Joseph. If you don't have time to get there on a Friday or even like a Saturday for an autograph session, you're going to try to do anything in your power to see them. I think they need to do better, like ways of getting access to the drivers in a more condensed like layout where you can go meet them, take a photo, have a small smidge of a conversation and move on, because that is also creating more chaos because people are like, well, I got to see them. And I didn't see them during the autograph session. And I'm just like,
Yeah. Well, and
okay.
do you remember during that autograph session too, there were people with like legit just boxes of
Yeah.
that they wanted signed or whatever. And I'm like, we don't have time for that. Like, okay,
No.
one thing, sure. But you know what I mean? And like they give out the cards and stuff like that. Just take that and be happy with
Yeah.
it. But that's like a
Yeah.
huge waste of time. And these poor
100%.
drivers are just sitting there just like saying whatever.
Yeah.
And that's probably so exhausting for them too.
I'm sure. And like I remember when we were at Barber this year, we did the autograph session for the first time, and we were very lucky that like someone told us like, "Oh, you need to get there like really early." And
Mhm.
we were like the first and second people in line. So
That
we
was
didn't
awesome.
actually have to wait, but the person that ended up being behind me in the line that I was in. So I was in the line for like Joseph and Kyle Kirkwood and like Fro and Pato and everybody like that. Joseph was the very first person in the line, and the person behind me literally had a backpack full for him to sign. Like he pulled out like 5 jerseys and like 3 posters, and he had like
See,
a
like, that's
car that's I was
one
like, that is
thing.
insane.
One thing that they should have that they should be like get signed, because like that's just
Yeah.
such a waste of time.
And
Yeah.
it's like it's really selfish almost
Yes.
too. Like of just, okay, I'm going to take up all of your time because, these drivers, they are, overall like very nice and very like giving with their time.
They are.
And so, they also during the autograph sessions don't really have a place to go if they are stuck there for, signing 17 things.
Yep.
They're not like, okay, go. Because then that gets them labeled as, oh, they're difficult. They're such a diva. They're so rude. And then it's like, it really does go back to that like boy bandification of people not respecting that these are human beings and that, yes, they're drivers. And yes, you're paying money for them to be there and for you to meet them. But like, guys, be respectful.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, even for the Indy 500, right? We went to Legends Day
yeah.
this year and we got there, 30 minutes before the session started at like 8 a.m. It was
Mhm.
bright and early.
Mm-hmm.
And we got there and this was our first time going. And we're like, okay, like we get in and they have the drivers based on their rows. There's 3 drivers and all of that. By the time the chaos of like people walking in, I was like, I guess we're standing here. Like,
Yeah.
okay. Like, you only had time to see 3 drivers in the allotted time for Legends Day, which you pay a ticket for. Like, you pay to enter. I get it, they have the parade, they have to be there, it's part of the tradition. But if you want to see, let's say Pato was up front, right? But then if you wanted to see Christian or Joseph, who was all the way in the back, there was no way you were going to meet more than 3 drivers, and people are paying to go to Legends Day to see you and to also see like some of the, actual legends. There was, I know AJ Foyt was signing autographs and things like that, but
Mm-hmm.
really like the tickets were not cheap. They were like $40-50 I think to go, and you had an hour to basically pray that you got to see more than 3 drivers. So I
Yeah.
do think that IndyCar, not the drivers, they need to do more crowd control and then also setting expectations. Because I have the IndyCar Nation membership. I pay for a membership. And in order for me to get like Fast Pass for like the signature, like it's a raffle. So like I'm paying a membership, but I'm raffling off my perks of maybe getting something. So I think they need to do a little bit of a better job for the drivers, because like if you have Pato in the middle of the line and then Joseph up front, like no one's making it past Pato. No one, because they're
Yeah.
going to be
Yeah.
bottlenecked, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah, they should just hire us. That's all I got to say.
Yeah. 100%.
We
We
can
are for
fix your
hire.
problems,
We could.
okay? We can do this.
We can
okay?
help
We
you out.
have ideas. We have been in fandom spaces long enough. We know what to do, guys.
I know, right? And stop bringing like 45 pieces of shit to sign.
God. Like,
Yes.
it's like they have stuff that they sign. Like you said, they have the driver's cards. You can buy like autograph stuff online. Like, it doesn't need to be this whole big thing. Yeah.
So I guess we've kind of touched on that a little bit, but to some extent, do you think your favorite driver, favorite teams plays any kind of influence on how you view the IndyCar space? Or maybe even least favorite driver maybe views how you see the IndyCar space or the IndyCar fandom?
So it's no secret. I'm a Andretti fan through and through. But I feel, I don't know. I think that they do a good job. I mean, they're, one of the ones that have the higher budget. They've got a huge presence on social media. They try to keep it light and fun and things like that. So I don't know. I think that they, thinking about their budget and things like that, like other teams need to have a better presence, like Dale
Mhm.
Coyne. Like, I think it would be so much more fun just to see like them do silly things and stuff like that. But I don't think they have like a social media presence like at all. I don't even
No,
think
they
they
definitely
have.
don't.
They don't have any like merch or really anything like that either.
Nope.
So, I think that there's more opportunity for those smaller teams because all those teams deserve the same amount of presence on social media and the same amount of press and things like that as Andretti or McLaren does. I think
Mhm.
Monica this week or last week, did you tell me like what McLaren's budget was for 2024?
Yeah, I think it was like close to like 40 million pounds, like for IndyCar,
Outrageous.
just IndyCar,
Just IndyCar. Like,
right?
That's insane.
wild
Dale's
to me.
Dale's maybe bringing like 10-15 mil. Like
Right?
that's the discrepancy in like
Yeah.
some of these. But I do think, and I understand that in 2025, this year has been a little bit of a difficult year when it comes to inclusivity and belonging, just because of what is happening around the United States specifically. And I do think that a lot of teams have taken a step back in how they're promoting inclusivity within their space, especially around fandom. I get it. There's a lot going on. There's a lot of repercussions. There's also a lot of conversations about who owns the series, their thoughts, and all of that fun stuff, which I won't get into. I do think that that is hurting the overall fandom when you have teams like McLaren who took a stance about, they're posting around celebration months, they're sharing their stories about having a diverse set of folks working on the teams and having that promotion, to kind of muting themselves a little bit. I get it, but at the same time, I wish that there were some teams that were brave enough to kind of stand against the grain and say, no, these are our morals. We value allyship and we want more.
Yeah.
And like, even like, I know it's silly, but the DHL sponsorship, there was no rainbow DHL during Pride Month, right?
Mhm.
It's little moments like this where if you're a new fan and you identify in a marginalized community and you're seeing none of that representation on, you know, even in F1, I think they also don't do as well of a job either. And they got
No. Yeah.
billions of dollars. But I do think IndyCar, some of these larger teams like McLaren who have the budget, scaled back. And I would love for them to kind of take a stance and say, IndyCar is for everyone. Because we've all been there, right? We've all been in a fandom where someone's like, well, name the last 200 Indy 500 winners. And you're like, shut the F up, please.
Yeah.
Because it does. I'm not
Mhm.
Sebastian Vettel who can name all the world champions, right? Like, but we get that still. And that creates this negative environment. And the teams are the best advocates for it. The drivers, even though they're not all media trained, they're still afraid to say something. And I
Yeah.
think it's just, you got to either be completely scrubbed like F1 and be fully media trained, or allow the pados of the world to say whatever they want, even if it's spicy and scary. Don't give Santino and Devlin a microphone, but let Joseph stand up for whatever, right?
Oh, we know. Yeah, we saw what happened when Santino had his own microphone. So
Yeah, like don't give
God,
him
let's
one.
avoid that at
That's
all
it. No,
costs.
yeah.
There's a
Right?
reason he's banned from European racing.
Right,
exactly.
That's where I'm stuck, right? Because we want to build this amazing community, and there's so many powerful women that are doing great things in IndyCar, and we spotlight them when it matters, right? During Women's History Month, during X, but we want more
It's
than
very
that.
picky and choosy.
Yep.
Like
Yeah.
when it suits the narrative for what they want to kind of put out there versus, you know, it's very performative. That's what it
Yeah,
is.
it's
And
kind
like, you know what? That's all what PR is, and PR is pure performance. And it's just, it is very frustrating, and I'm 100% with you on that. And you know, like you have McLaren who's posting about Hispanic Heritage Month, but only like once or twice.
Yeah.
Whereas like in years past, they have had an entire spotlight series. And then, like you mentioned, they're scaling it back. And then, you know, everything that has been going on in the world of McLaren with how it's being perceived with the greater political climate right now. It's just, it's very frustrating that nothing has been said or nothing has come out. And you're just like, well, is this actually a space for me? Or is this just someone who's trying to benefit from me being here, but doesn't actually give a shit about who I am and being here?
Yeah, it's really interesting about how staying silent is the solution right now, even though it might not be what fans really want to create that moment and to
Yeah.
create this safe space. And they're searching for it, right? There's pockets, right? We're a pocket. There's
Yep.
other pockets that you can go and find your community, and that's great. But I would love to see that bubble up to the teams, to the series, to all of that. And that's on all motorsport. That's for NASCAR. That's for F1, right? We have purchasing power as much as the next person, as much as the next guy.
Yep.
I'll
Yeah.
swipe my card if the merch is cute. I'll swipe my card. This Olay sponsorship that's happening in F1 Academy, like it's
Fantastic.
chef's kiss, right? Like I want to buy that brand now because they are supporting young women in racing.
It's like the Elf sponsorship with
Yep.
Catherine Legg,
Yeah.
you know, when she's been racing. It's made me be like, that to me is a team and a sponsorship that I'm like very happy to, you know, support and give my money towards. It's the whole reason I'm a Lewis Hamilton fan to begin with. Like, he is so actively outspoken about the causes that he cares so deeply about, which resonate with the causes that I care so deeply about, you know,
Yeah.
like his entire plus 40, you know, foundation for, you know, Black and brown students of STEM. That is my entire demographic of teaching. That is exactly what I do. And so the fact that he is putting his money where his mouth is
Yeah.
and not just saying, yeah, I support it, but then nothing gets done. He's genuinely trying to evolve the space.
Yeah.
And look at what it's doing.
Of course.
It is
Yeah.
it is profitable. It is beneficial to these teams and to these companies. And I'm like, guys, women and people of color, we're the ones that drive these spaces.
Yeah.
And, you know, it creates a sense of community that is really hard to find right now.
Yeah. And it's happening in pockets, right? Milena and I, we went to the Dallara factory tour over 500 weekend, and we got to kind of see the soup being made, right?
Yeah.
And Dallara has a partnership now with Purdue University, and they
Yes.
have like a rotational program, which I'm like, that's incredible because Purdue has like huge pushes around bringing, underrepresented, STEM students to their program. So I'm like, that's a great pipeline, right? You're going to
Yep.
have talent coming into a university that is nurturing, diversity in their student population to come work for Dollara in Indianapolis, right?
Mhm.
And hopefully those folks then go and work for the teams or they start whatever. And more individuals are then available to hire because there's going to be a talent drought of hiring, in the STEM space if teams are not open to promoting and nurturing the programs that are creating these STEM students, right? And we need that because you're not going to be able to hire somebody who wants to be an engineer in F1 that lives in Italy, right? Like they're going to be like, I got to move to Fishers, Indiana. What? I'm going to live in Maranello, right? Like,
Yeah.
so nurture the population here. Sponsors, like I know MSR when we were in Milwaukee, Milena, if you remember, like they had a university, I think it was St. Thomas University sponsored the car and there's a mutual partnership there. Do more of that. Give representation to, these students because then they're going to come and they're going to be more innovative. They're going to create the next, Indy 500 winning team. And also there's funding, there's money behind it because then people are going to go, well, you got a woman doing this, you got this doing this. I'm going to buy your merch. I'm going to do that. Right. Like I love Miles Rowe because he's an incredible driver, but also because his journey into racing is so unconventional. I'm like, yes, give me more of that because we love that. We nurture
Absolutely.
that. So I will take my day job down a little bit talking about this, but that's my biggest thing is like, do more, please.
Yeah.
Love Monica. My manifesto is written. Thank you.
And I will co-sign that,
Thank you.
please. Oh my God. No, it's perfect.
So we've already kind of touched on a little bit of kind of things you'd like to see going into 2026, but something that we do whenever we're talking about races is like we usually pick who we think might win or who might be on the podium, but we also kind of give who to watch. Now, I know we don't have a complete 2026 grid yet, but if you had to pick someone to be who to watch outside of, race wins, who to watch can be whatever classification you want it to be. Who do you think might that be in 2026?
I'm looking at little Dave. I want to see what he's going to do in the seat that he's in now in the 12 car.
Yeah, he's definitely got a spotlight on him.
For sure.
Yeah.
He's got a lot of pressure, I would say, because like not that he didn't have a terrible season. He did pretty well. But the question is like, is he truly ready for that Penske seat? Can he perform the way that they want him to? Is he going to get that proper training? Things like that. He's definitely one of the ones that I'm curious to see what 2026 brings for him.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how he does in Phoenix. Now that we have an oval before the 500, I'm like,
Yeah.
okay, like, are you just going to be the oval guy at Penske or are you going to be able to do the road and street courses? Ooh, he's been spending a lot of time in Penske. So they're clearly putting a lot of training dollars behind Lil Dave to be, graduated to just Dave. But until I see him, graduate to that, it's just going to be Lil Dave until then. Until he gets his win, then I'll call him Dave.
Yeah.
I think that's a fair testament. I mean, like, it's going to be hard with comparing him to, the king of ovals with Joseph as his teammate. And, we've already kind of seen Joseph start to like take him under his wing a little bit of like, this is your spot. And I'm like, I low key kind of respect it because it feels slightly manipulative from Joseph that I'm
For
like,
sure.
I'm okay with that. That's interesting because
Give me that drama.
Yeah,
I want
exactly.
drama.
I want to hear that drama. I want to see like, well, because we see the power struggle that is at McLaren, right?
Yep.
So like I'm in both places, right? But yeah, I'm curious to see, what.
Yeah.
I mean, I just want him to be successful. Really, I know that he deserves, he deserves that seat. But
Yeah.
we'll just, see what it has. I don't know.
Yeah.
We'll see
I
if it was
always
a year
said-
too soon.
Yeah.
You
Well,
think so?
Yeah.
Do we have
like,
an
he was
hour?
always going to get him there.
Yeah.
He was always going to get that seat eventually. I feel like it was just kind of in the cards for him. But, we've talked about it before of just he seems like he makes some immature decisions in
Yes.
terms of like his racing abilities, but also just his personality. But that's also like the Gen Z of him being chronically online, which we're going to see how that pans out with the Mr. Penske there. But,
Yeah.
I'm a little nervous to see if he goes full Penske perfect Dave, which is going to be a scary thing to see if it does happen.
Mhm.
Robot Dave, like I don't know if I want to see
I
that.
think about it like normal SpongeBob. Hi, how are you? Like, that's what I'm worried is going to happen. Of
Yeah.
like, he's just going to lose all sense of personality to
I
fit
hope
that
not.
Penske perfect image, because it doesn't seem like his actual like goofy Gen Z meme lord self is going to be embraced.
Yeah.
You know, the tradition of Penske.
Yeah. I don't know. It'll be interesting to see also what happens, because this is the first time Penske's brought up a driver that has never won. Like, if you think
Yeah.
about that, like
Mhm.
everyone that has always gotten up to the big guns has had at least one win under their belt. Dave has been close, but I think you're right. He's made some not great decisions. I think desperation, is better than
Yeah.
immaturity in some cases, where like at Gateway is like his mecca. And
Mhm.
he's made so many like decisions where you're like, come on, like you were almost there.
Yeah.
And it'll be interesting to see that dynamic between, like, we've seen Joseph and Little Dave, but like, how is it going to be with Scotty and Little Dave? Because
Mhm.
Scotty has this goofy, cool kind of mentality, but we've seen that kind of mute itself a little bit ever since Bus Bros broke up. I'm like, what happened, honestly?
Be
And
a fly on the wall.
oh my God, right? Like something happened where they made him like scrape off a little bit of that like New Zealand charm. And I'm like, why? Because that's what made me love him more than
Yeah.
everything, was the fact he was pounding Guinnesses with his wife after a race. Like,
Yep.
I hope that little Dave still keeps that like goofy online meme king, even just a light version. Like,
Mhm.
Yeah.
don't change yourself for anybody. Like, Dave, listen to that. Like,
Mhm.
if you're performing, they're not going to touch it though. So I
Mhm.
guess we'll see.
Yeah.
I think
that's
for
fair.
me, I think it's Christian Rasmussen. I think that he has definitely shown having Rossi as a teammate is like the best thing that he needed to just keep him be aggressive, but also not to give a and then also just be great. If he
Yeah.
can nail street racing and a little bit on the road courses, I think that he could win. Again, not on an oval. I think that the funding that ECR is getting, I think the Danish diva will be on the podium again.
Mhm.
It's going to happen. So we'll see.
It's like, all right. Do we want to get into some stupid questions?
Love it.
That's
Let's
my
do it.
favorite.
Amazing. So this episode is going to be coming out right around like Halloween. So in the spirit of that, we have picked out some very classic Halloween costumes, and we want you guys to kind of take a look at them and then pick who you think would wear this to a costume party
Okay.
based off of this grid. And this can also include anyone who works for the Fox team. So think about like James or Buxton or like anybody on the
Harvey, yeah.
Oh, okay.
This can
Okay.
include anybody.
Okay.
All right, we're going to pull this up on our screen.
Stunning.
Can everyone see this?
What is that?
So for
Here, let me
our
see if I can make it bigger.
listeners, for who don't have the video, this is a man who is shirtless but has a velvet like suit jacket. Almost like a Playboy Mansion
I was gonna
type
say,
dude.
It's a sexy Hugh Hefner.
I was going to
Yeah,
say,
sexy
that's a
Hugh
good way to describe
Hefner.
it.
Yep.
Yes, a sexy Hugh Hefner. Who would we want to be the sexy Hugh Hefner?
I feel like the only one, like, I just think of Joseph Newgarden with like his like 12 pack.
Yes.
Same.
Like he
That
can
was
rock
not where we
this.
went when we were discussing that. So
No.
interesting.
I was gonna say, like, who is willing to be? Like, I would say it's like Will Power or something like that. How
Ooh.
hilarious would it for him to just this older dude just like owning it and like
I love it.
I love it, love it.
That is so fair. We saw this and we had immediately thought Pato would rock this because,
yes.
I mean,
Isn't this just a normal Tuesday afternoon for him though?
Right.
and
I'm
that's
pretty
exactly why.
That's definitely hanging
He
in his
already
closet.
owns it.
100%.
Yeah, he's
He
like,
wears
wait.
this out to Vegas.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
We know how much he
100%.
loves it there.
Oh yeah.
All right. Costume number 2.
Oh my god.
So, for those who are listening along, we're going to see how well I can describe this. It is a man in a horrible mullet wig with a exercise headband, and then we have a full unitard with a fanny pack and, if I scroll down so it can be seen, knee-high socks and tennis shoes.
So this reminds me of like 1990s WWF.
Yes,
Mhm.
Right?
exactly.
Like, okay. 1990s WWF, Christian Lundgaard.
Lungard.
See it. Honestly, I can see it.
Yep. That's who I'm going with. I
Listen,
think
if any of these actually come true on Halloween, like, I'm going to literally pee my pants.
Cry. That would be iconic.
I don't know if it's just because the model looks like him, but I immediately thought of Stingray. Like, I feel like Stingray would totally rock this.
Right.
Like,
it's like
I
his
feel
one
like it
night
would
of the
be-
year to come out of his shell
Yeah,
that he could just be like, I'm going to do
exactly.
whatever I want.
I feel like Stingray owns a fanny pack in like a non-ironic way, and I think he would just find it in his closet. So.
Yeah.
Honestly, his wife Molly would, I'm sure, absolutely be thrilled to get this.
100%.
Oh my God.
We said Connor. I think Connor
Yeah,
was who we
Connor would
decided
be
this would
good.
be very fitting
There's a good
for.
one too. I
Mhm.
like that.
Mhm.
It's the mullet that really just gives it.
Yeah.
And you know that he loves the commitment to the bit too.
Yeah.
Oh
This is
my
great.
God.
On to the next. We've got the very classic,
We put
poorly
this-
done race suit.
Well, we put this in lieu of who's going to the party wearing their own like racing costume as a costume.
Rossi. Hands down. Like, he's like, I'm not into Halloween, but if I have to do it, I'm wearing my own.
He's just wearing the team kit. Like,
Right,
he's just
exactly.
wearing like his ECR polo and his
Yep.
freaking like black jeans. I immediately thought Marcus Armstrong because he has worn.
That's literally
race
what
suit.
I
Done that.
said.
Granted, I think it was Clem's, and it was very tightly ill-fitting on him, but I feel like as a ladies' man Marcus is, he would totally wear that to be like, I'm a race car driver. And they'll be like, no,
Yeah.
you're not. And he'll be like, actually, I am. And that's his
Just like-
shtick.
Just Google
That's
me.
his line.
Yeah. Like, I drive
No,
real
well,
fast. And they're like, no, you
Literally
don't.
what I had said.
And unfortunately, you know that would work too.
Of
And
course it would.
100%. Like, he's like, wait, let me show you what a backbone is. Like, this is me. And they're like, okay. Oh, incredible.
Next up, we've got Cowboy with the inflatable bull as like the lower half. And God.
My God. Who would be?
Feel like Jack Harvey would wear this.
You think so?
Yeah, I
Jack?
could
I
see
feel like
that.
Jack would do this.
Good answer.
Yeah. I don't know. Felix?
That was my original thought.
Yeah.
I think Felix is a blow up costume guy.
I think so, right? Felix reminds me of Botas. And I feel like
Yes.
Boats, right? Like, I feel like they have the same vibe. So yeah, I'm going
Very
Felix
much
with
the
this
same
one.
vibe.
Yeah.
All right. Our fifth one, just kind of the classic Roman gladiator.
This is New Garden.
Yeah.
For you? Yeah.
I like, like I just think of him as like the Hercules. Like, again, he's married to a Disney princess, so he's gotta be like a soldier or something, right?
Yeah. I call him G.I. Joe all the time because he is just like action figure
Totally.
kind of guy.
Yep.
100%.
Yep.
I feel like Callum Ilott would pull this off. I
Yeah.
feel like Callum would be like something where he's like, I'm going to a costume party. I'm just going to go to a Spirit Halloween in Indiana and I'm just going to pull the random costume. And he's like, this is enough. But then his girlfriend would be like Megara or something. And it would be like
Yeah.
incredible, right?
Mhm.
I could see that.
Absolutely.
I'd said Hinch. This felt like a very Hinch costume to me.
It's too funny.
Yeah.
All right.
These are so
And
good.
then our last one, this might be my favorite.
Sexy
We've
nurse.
got the sexy nurse.
Who would be a good sexy nurse? I mean, I have no idea.
I feel like either like immediately I'm like Pato would do it.
Yeah.
Because I feel like Pato would totally do it. But then the other person I would think would like Scotty Mac. I feel like Scotty Mac would do it just to be funny.
Absolutely.
Maybe TK.
God, no.
Big image.
No, I need to bleach my brain.
I'm going with TK. I think
Oh my God.
he would own it. So
Cursed image.
Yeah.
Oh my
Yeah.
God, that's good. That's so good.
Meg, you want to share who we said for this one?
God, who did we say?
There's our timer, y'all.
There's our timer.
We had said Colton, which we didn't
Oh,
lead
yeah.
in with. Colton has a job now, so congrats to Colton.
does.
You were
Yeah,
a sexy nurse for
Colton.
Halloween.
Yes.
Congrats to Colton.
please show up to High Tech wearing a sexy nurse costume on your first day.
Right.
And really make an impact.
Show what Americans are about. All right.
I'm obsessed.
Oh, that's so good. You know, I feel like Colton and Kyle would do like a sexy nurse and like sexy cop like get up just to
Mhm.
like screw with people. I
Yeah.
love it.
Like, if anyone would commit to that bit, I do think it's Colton Herta.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah,
100%.
100%.
Too funny.
I'm obsessed. Oh, there's
Oh, that was
tears in my
good.
eyes.
I still get TK out of my head. That's going to be like burned into my retinas
You're
for the rest of my
You're welcome.
All right. So, to any of the drivers who happen to be listening to our podcast, we found your Halloween costumes this year.
Yeah, please make it happen.
Get to that spirit store by Friday. You run
Yeah.
out of time, gentlemen.
Yeah, the options will be limited, and tag us to make sure that we know that it happened
Mhm.
because unfortunately, TK, if you do it, we got to see it. We got to see it.
As a nurse, I'd be proud. I'd be very proud to see that. Okay.
Have TK just call Milena. She'll find you like some scrubs you can wear. Like you'll be fine.
I got props. I got everything for you. So
Oh, that was good. That was good.
Fantastic.
And
This was the
Getting all
benefit of us
guys, all
hiding
right?
them from you.
Initial like I was like, oh, okay, these are easy, and then I'm like,
Yes.
oh my god, yes.
No.
All right. Well, I think that about brings us to the end of this episode. Ladies, where can the folks find y'all?
Yeah, so we're Lap It Like It's Hot on Spotify, YouTube, and Apple Podcast, and then Lap It Like It's Hot on all the socials. And we're really thank you for this. This was awesome.
This is so much fun. You guys are great. Thank you so much for having us.
Yeah. No, thank you guys for
Well, thank
coming on and
you.
taking
Yeah.
time. And I'm so glad that we're able to connect. And, we talked about it during the episode, but creating the community is so, so important. And anytime people reach out to any of us, it's just like, it's furthering that and it's making a space for us.
Yeah.
So we love it.
We absolutely
Yeah.
love it.
Yeah. If you like our podcast, you're gonna love theirs. So please go check
Absolutely.
it out. Go check out our episode we did on there as well. I guess Meg,
Guess
we'll
that
be back
brings us
next
to the end.
episode. Ladies, y'all are welcome back anytime.
We'll come back
Awesome.
whenever you want us.
Exactly.
Fantastic. All right. Well, I think that ends it for us. So we'll see you next time.
All right. Bye, guys.
Bye.
Bye.